everyone for joining our webinar this morning. So today I'm here just to give you an update on what's new with Rocky Mountaineer for 2016 and 2017. Hopefully you're all familiar with the Rocky Mountaineer product. Also, I wanted to give you a sneak peek at the promotion and what's new for 2017 because we're just about to launch 2017 season this Sunday, the 29th of May. And as you know, with Rocky Mountaineer, we are a luxury brand, so we are specialists when it comes to luxury train travel in Western Canada and now in Seattle in the USA. And you can book Rocky Mountaineer as part of a fully escorted touring package with one of our tour partners or as an FIT package for your more independent guests. And definitely stay tuned because at the end of the webinar, I am going to give away a small Rocky Mountaineer prize. So make sure you're all paying attention. So first, I thought I'd talk through the FIT promo that is just about to be launched on the 29th of May. If you're familiar with our Rocky Mountaineer promotions, they're pretty much all the same every season. So same, but just a different year. And the early booking bonus, or the EBB, in Australia we like to abbreviate everything, so we just call it the EBB because it is a bit of a mouthful. The EBB promotion is our best promotion for the season ahead. So the EBB will be the best promotion for 2017 season. It will be available from 29th of May until 26th of August. And all guests need to do is book a package with us of 7 nights or more to qualify for the EBB. Regardless if they're doing Silver Leaf or Gold Leaf, they can apply for the EBB or receive the EBB promo as long as they're doing a package of 7 nights or more on select departures. So because we are a luxury brand, we don't discount our product, but we always offer value add. So the EBB offer is a credit, and guests will receive a $500 per person credit if they book a package of 7 nights or more before the 26th of August. And they can use that credit towards many add-ons, including extra hotel nights in the major cities of Seattle, Vancouver, Victoria, or Calgary, so they can use it towards their pre- and post hotels. They can also use it towards a cruise to the Inside Passage of Alaska. So it is a $500 per person saving if they choose to book a cruise and rail package with us. They can also use it towards extra tours and activities like whale watching or bear watching in the Rockies, meals at the hotels, because as part of our independent packages, we don't automatically include meals at the hotels, airport transfers by limousine in the major cities of Vancouver and Calgary. This year, we've also, next year, we're going to allow our guests to use their credit towards extra car rental days. So if they're doing a self-drive package with us, then they can extend the driving portion of their trip. Or if they're just doing a coach and rail package with us, then they can add in some self-drive as well using their credit. If you have solo travelers, they can use the credit towards a single supplement that is charged at the hotels or on board the cruise ship. And it is available to single travelers, twin share, triple, and quad share as well. So keep an eye out because that will be launched on the 29th of May as well as the new 2017 brochures. So now I thought I'd take you through a journey through Western Canada with Rocky Mountaineer as well as Seattle. So this year we actually offered 4 different train routes. So I thought I'd start with the Coastal Passage. This is our 5-hour journey between the cities of Seattle and Vancouver. We introduced Coastal Passage about 3 years ago now, and one of the reasons for it is because obviously at Rocky Mountaineer we want to incorporate more destinations in our offering, but also to cater for the cruise market out of Seattle because more and more guests, especially Aussie guests, are cruising out of Seattle. So if your guests have booked a Rocky Mountaineer train trip through the Canadian Rockies, they can then add the Coastal Passage as an add-on. So you can't book the Coastal Passage on its own. It has to be booked in conjunction with another trip through the Rockies with Rocky Mountaineer. So the great thing about the Coastal Passage is Rocky Mountaineer is the only luxury train that travels between these destinations. We also use our Silverleaf and Goldleaf Dome between Vancouver and Seattle. And because we travel along the coastline, our guests get to see all the beautiful scenery. If you travel by car or coach between Vancouver and Seattle, then you won't get to see as much coastal scenery. So it's another option for guests to choose when they are traveling between those two destinations. If clients are traveling southbound from Vancouver to Seattle with us, it's a 5-hour journey. We provide, obviously, gourmet breakfast on board in either Silverleaf or Goldleaf. And once we arrive in Seattle at about 1:30 p.m., we actually clear customs on board the train before disembarking. So that's a huge benefit for our guests because once they've cleared customs with us, they're free to travel throughout the USA. From that point, if guests have booked their cruise package with us, then we can actually transfer them to the cruise terminal free of charge so they can pick up their cruise, their afternoon cruise out of Seattle. Or alternatively, we can transfer them to one of our contracted hotels in Seattle for their overnight stay. If these are in the reverse direction, so traveling with us from Seattle to Vancouver, the train actually departs the same day. So it arrives into Seattle at 1:30 and then turns around at 4:30, departing Seattle for Vancouver. And we arrive into Vancouver at approximately 9:30 p.m. If they are traveling with us from Seattle to Vancouver, because it is a late departure, we actually serve dinner on board the train, and it's the first time in the company's history we've served dinner on the train. Traditionally, our guests will receive their gourmet breakfast and lunch as well as snacks going into the Rockies, but between Seattle and Vancouver, our guests will also get to enjoy a gourmet dinner. So it's a really good option to consider when your guests are traveling through the Rockies and want to extend down into the USA, or even if they're just picking up a cruise out of Seattle. And also one thing I forgot to mention is your clients can break up the journey in Vancouver. So if they are traveling from Seattle to Vancouver with us, they can spend as much time in Vancouver as they like before then heading into the Rockies with us, and vice versa. So next I thought I would take you through the Rainforest to Gold Rush journey. So this year we actually made this journey a 3-day, 2-night journey. Last year it was only a 2-day, 1-night journey starting in Whistler, but we decided to extend it to a 3-day journey because a lot of our past guests have told us they want more than 2 days on the train. So they're wanting 3, 4 or 5 days with us. So now the Rainforest to Gold Rush is a 3-day, 2-night journey. You can start in Vancouver with us or start in Jasper, with overnight stays at hotels in both Quesnel and Whistler. And our guests are loving this itinerary because it provides a variety in scenery and wildlife. So you're going through the beautiful coastal rainforest heading up to Whistler. You'll see the beautiful snow-capped mountains and beautiful mountain ranges in Whistler and Jasper. But then heading through the interior of British Columbia up to Quesnel, it provides completely different scenery. So it's more canyon-like, desert-like conditions, and because there are there's less vegetation, there's more opportunity to spot moose on this particular route. And in addition to that, you'll still get to see your grizzly and black bears in Whistler, as well as your black bears in Jasper. So guests are really loving that variety in scenery and wildlife. And even though we are a once-in-a-lifetime holiday, a lot of our guests are coming back for the second time. So this is a really good journey for second-time passengers or for those who want to see the variety through Western Canada. Next is the popular Journey Through the Clouds 2-day, 1-night itinerary between Vancouver and Jasper. So you can start in Vancouver with us or start in Jasper. And this particular journey includes an overnight stay at a moderate hotel in Kamloops. So if your clients and our guests, if they decide to travel eastbound, so starting in Vancouver and ending in Jasper, then on day one between Vancouver and Kamloops, they're traveling along the Thompson and Fraser rivers. So you're going through all the beautiful fertile valleys. And in spring and summertime, it's absolutely gorgeous because it's so lush and green. And you'll still get to see some wildlife on day one. You'll see, long hair, mountain goats, bighorn sheep, ospreys and eagles. If you're lucky, you might spot coyotes as well. And then as we come into Kamloops, the scenery completely changes because Kamloops is a desert-like area. So it becomes very dry and arid, and you'll get to see lots of osprey and their nests as you're heading into Kamloops. Some of the osprey nests are over 100 years old, and they are massive. Then we overnight in Kamloops at a moderate-style hotel. Then the next day, take the guests back to the train station early in the morning for their departure up to Jasper. Now, on day two, this is where you'll see the wow factor. You'll see all the beautiful snow-capped mountains. You'll see the glistening lakes. You'll get to see lots of bears because Jasper is renowned for black bears, and you'll probably see more black bears in Jasper than anywhere else in Western Canada. You'll also go past Mount Robson, which is the highest peak in the Canadian Rockies. And Mount Robson is so high, it actually has its own weather system. So if you're lucky and it's a sunny, clear day, you'll actually get to see the peak of Mount Robson. Otherwise, for most of the year, it's surrounded in clouds, hence the name, Journey Through the Clouds. Also on this particular journey between Kamloops and Jasper, we go past Pyramid Falls, which you can see on the screen now in the top right-hand corner. And this is quite exclusive for our Rocky Mountaineer guests, because Pyramid Falls can only be accessed by train, not by car or coach. So when you do travel on board Rocky Mountaineer and by train, not only is it a very comfortable and unique way to travel through the Rockies, but you'll also get to see scenery that you can't access by car or by coach. And then last but not least is our most famous First Passage to the West 2-day, 1-night itinerary. So guests can start in Vancouver or Lake Louise and Banff with us, or they can finish in Banff or finish in Lake Louise or Vancouver, because we operate all of our train journeys in reverse direction. If clients are traveling with us in the eastbound direction, so they're starting in Vancouver and ending in the Rockies, then on day one between Vancouver and Kamloops, we follow the same tracks and scenery as the Journey Through the Clouds. So we're going through the fertile valleys along the Fraser and Thompson rivers, then overnighting in Kamloops at a moderate-style hotel before venturing to Lake Louise and Banff. So the First Passage to the West is popular for Rocky Mountaineer for many reasons. We have exclusivity on this route, so only Rocky Mountaineer can operate between Vancouver, Lake Louise and Banff. We're the only private passenger train service that can do this. We only share the tracks with freight trains. And also this particular journey is rich in history. So the tracks were laid in the 1800s, and it was the first time Canada, especially the provinces of BC and Alberta, were united for the first time. And even the famous Fairmont hotels were started, or they began because they were built to house the railway workers. So there's a lot of history between us and the Fairmont hotels, but also it's an engineering feat for the Canadians. You know, they didn't have the technology that we have today in the 1800s, so laying these tracks between Vancouver to the Rockies was a huge engineering feat. We also go through the famous spiral tunnels on the way into Lake Louise and Banff, and the spiral tunnels are yet again an engineering feat for the Canadians because they had to blast their way through two mountains. And if your clients are lucky, if it is a very long train and they're in one of the first carriages, as they're coming out of the second tunnel, they can actually still see the rest of the train spiraling through the first tunnel. So it's kind of a highlight for our guests on either day one or day two. And of course, on this particular route, our guests will get to spend 1 or 2 nights in Lake Louise and Banff. And as you know, Lake Louise is the jewel of the Canadian Rockies, and Banff has to be added to a Western Canada itinerary. It's a must-see and must-do. And of course, Lake Louise and Banff are renowned for grizzly bears. You'll always get to, well, I shouldn't guarantee this because you can't guarantee wildlife spotting in Canada, but every time I've been on this journey, I've always spotted bears around the spiral tunnels. So you're probably thinking, when is the best time to travel through the Canadian Rockies? And hopefully you know that Rocky Mountaineer only travels between late April to mid-October every year. So we're a daylight service, and we only travel through the warmer months, so our guests get to see the beautiful scenery and especially the wildlife, because in wintertime the wildlife hibernate, especially the bears. But then obviously, you know, if you have clients wanting to travel to Canada outside of our season, I highly recommend it because winter is a whole new experience. My favourite season is spring. The reason for that is because Canada, or Western Canada, has just finished winter, so there's more snow on the mountains. If you're lucky, you might even still get snow in Lake Louise and Banff. When I was there late April last year, it actually snowed the whole day in Lake Louise and Banff, so that was an amazing sight to see because you still had the warmer temperatures, but it felt like a winter wonderland in those destinations. Also, you'll get to see more wildlife out and about, especially bears, because they've just come out of hibernation and need to feast. And because it is springtime, it's mating season, so all the wildlife are out in their glory. And some of the lakes are still frozen over in springtime. So Lake Louise, for example, doesn't thaw out until mid-June. So you'll still get to see some of the lakes frozen, and then obviously other lakes are usually thawed out by then, especially in Jasper because it's at lower altitude. Then summer is great for guests like my parents who hate the winter season in Australia, so they want to escape for the winter. And summer is great in Canada. It is peak season, but it's beautiful weather because you have warmer temperatures. Sometimes it can get up to 30 degrees in the Rockies. You'll also see all the baby wildlife out and about because it is warmer, so they're more inclined to come out and play. And also in summertime, you'll get to see all the beautiful flowers in bloom. So it's a great time to visit the gardens like Butchart Gardens on Vancouver Island. And then last but not least is autumn or fall. So this is September and October for Rocky Mountaineer. And autumn is a great time to visit if guests are wanting to see the change in the colours, if they want less crowds because it's off-peak season for Rocky Mountaineer. And it's also a great time to see bears because the salmon are migrating in September and October, and where there's salmon, there are usually bears because they need to feast on the fatty salmon before they hibernate. So now I thought I'd take you through the two services that we're now offering on the Rocky Mountaineer train. So you've probably heard that this year we have decided to no longer operate Red Leaf. So going forward in 2016 and 2017, we will only be operating our Silver Leaf and Gold Leaf services. And the reason for that is because most of our guests were upgrading to Silver Leaf as a minimum when we introduced Silver Leaf service. So there was no point in us operating Red Leaf. So with Silver Leaf, you can see even though it's a single level carriage, you're still getting lots of viewing area because of the partially domed windows. And it's quite luxurious for a leading product because we do have leather seats and modern decor. We also provide a hot gourmet lunch and breakfast to guests at their seat. And we also decided last year to include all alcoholic beverages, including top shelf spirits, for our Silver Leaf guests. New for this year, we also included a culinary host. And the culinary host is responsible for plating and serving the hot breakfast and lunch to the guests at their seat. So it's a much more interactive experience, and also guests can now choose their portion size. And just like Gold Leaf guests, our Silver Leaf guests also have their luggage delivered to the overnight hotels in Kamloops, Quesnel and Whistler for their overnight stop or stay. So that's Silver Leaf service, and here we have some examples of the gourmet food provided on board. And with Silver Leaf, one thing I forgot to mention is that our guests have the choice of 2 options at breakfast and at lunch. So for example, at lunchtime, you know, salmon and beef might be on the menu. They'll always start with a soup or salad, then they'll have their hot main, and then at lunchtime we have a surprise dessert by the chef. And we always try to accommodate dietary requirements on board. You just need to know at the time of booking for both Silver Leaf and Gold Leaf guests. So if you like the look of Silver Leaf, you're going to love the look of Gold Leaf. So Gold Leaf still remains our #1 service out of this market, with over 70% of Aussie guests now choosing Gold Leaf. So you can see it's quite an easy upsell. So with Gold Leaf, as you can see on the screen now, it's a bi-level dome. So you have a full viewing dome upstairs where you get uninterrupted views of the scenery. Downstairs is our private dining area where our Michelin-trained chef prepares a hot gourmet breakfast and lunch for our guests. And it is an a la carte menu, so there's going to be more options to choose from at breakfast and lunch. There's usually 6 options at breakfast and 6 options at lunch, and we do change the menu from season to season just to keep it fresh. For both Gold Leaf and Silver Leaf guests, we actually source all the food locally, so then our guests get to sample or try all the local specialties like BC salmon and Alberta beef. We even source only Canadian wine and beer to serve on board. And our wines are actually sourced from either the Okanagan Valley, which is the wine region of BC, or Niagara Falls in the east. And for the first time, we're actually serving sparkling wine on the train this year. With our Gold Leaf guests, they also have an exclusive outdoor area which Silver Leaf guests can't access. So Gold Leaf is definitely the most luxurious way to see the Canadian Rockies. And on your screen now, you can see some of the breakfast and lunch items that we offer. So at breakfast, you can order your hot fluffy pancakes with maple syrup or eggs Benedict. And then at lunchtime, we have an array of options to choose from. One of my favorites would have to be the gourmet beef burger that we serve on board. And you're probably thinking, well, a burger isn't really gourmet, but it's very gourmet, and Canadians love their burgers. And our beef burger was our last CEO, he was the one who created the beef burger. And our chefs actually create everything from scratch on board. So they create the pretzel bun, the beef meat, the actual beef patty. They use their own spice mix, and they even create their own coleslaw and ketchup. So I would highly recommend it if you're a fan of beef burgers. But of course, we have other options to choose from: BC salmon, Fraser Valley chicken. We even have our famous barley risotto on board. So at Rocky Mountaineer, for the last several years, we've actually created our own FIT packages for the more independent traveller. So we're not just the train anymore. We can offer your guests everything from hotel accommodation, coach transfers, self-drive packages, even cruising through the Inside Passage of Alaska with our partner, Holland America. And we can cruise out of Seattle and Vancouver. We offer both Wednesdays and Saturday sailings now for 2017. And we also include the major attractions throughout the Rockies, such as a visit to the ice fields, the Columbian Icefield, so your guests can get to experience the snow coach ride and visit Athabasca Glacier, which is the biggest and I believe the oldest glacier up there. We also include 12-minute helicopter rides over the Canadian Rockies in Kananaskis, the Banff Gondola, Calgary Tower, Vancouver Lookout, the list goes on. And for guests who want to customise their FIT package, then they can add extra nights throughout our destinations, except for Whistler, Quesnel and Kamloops, because the train has to depart the next day. And they can also add on experiences like whale watching off Vancouver Island or even bear watching throughout the Canadian Rockies. And one thing I wanted to mention, which is brand new for next year, we will be including the famous Sonora Resort on 3 of our top-selling packages. And these packages will be included in the new brochure due out next week. So for those of you who aren't familiar with Sonora, it's actually an all-inclusive luxurious resort based off the coast of British Columbia. So it's in the Discovery Islands. And we actually include the 1-hour float plane ride to and from Vancouver for our guests as part of the package. So it is all-inclusive, so food and drinks are included, as well as some activities at the resort, like golf, indoor golfing. There's some spa treatments. There's also sauna and outdoor heated pools. And then for those who are a little bit more adventurous, they can actually book in before they depart a 1-hour eco tour, a 4-hour salmon fishing experience. And in September and October, they also offer a 5-hour bear viewing experience. And all these add-ons can be obviously booked before departure. And it's a great way to start a Rocky Mountaineer package, especially after a long flight from Australia into Vancouver. So they have 1 night in Vancouver at a choice of their hotel before they then fly to Sonora for their 2-night stay at the Sonora Resort. So it's a really nice way, an upmarket way to relax before or after a long flight and before all the action-packed activities through the Rockies. So I thought I'd show you 2 of our top sellers or top FIT packages out of Australia, just to give you an idea of what's included in our packages. So the Western Explorer would have to be our most popular one-way package between Vancouver and the Canadian Rockies. So on this particular package, your clients can start with us in either Vancouver or Calgary because we offer pretty much all of our itineraries in reverse direction. If clients are travelling from Vancouver into the Canadian Rockies, then on this particular package, they'll travel with us on Journey Through the Clouds, which is the 2-day, 1-night rail journey between Vancouver and Jasper with an overnight stay in Kamloops. And of course, all drinks, gourmet breakfast and lunch, snacks, commentary and luggage delivery are included as part of the train journey. Then between Jasper, Lake Louise, Banff and Calgary, we actually provide transfers by Luxurious Motor Coach, and we partner up with Brewsters for that. We also include all the major attractions like the Columbian Icefield, the Banff Gondola, the 12-minute summit helicopter ride of the Rockies, and the Calgary Tower in Calgary. We also have driver guides to provide commentary along the way, so guests aren't going to miss out on all that important information as they're travelling with us through the Canadian Rockies. And of course, we provide the overnight hotel accommodation in each destination. And the Western Explorer starts from roughly $3,600 per person twin share, and that would be for a 2016 season package, departing in either April or September, October. And that would also be for Silverleaf on the train and Silverleaf style hotels. Then next is our Golden Circle via Whistler package. Now, I actually wanted to show you this package because it's something a little bit different from what we offer. So your guests can obviously travel with us on a one-way package, but for those who want to take the train back to Vancouver rather than fly, I'd highly recommend a Circle package because our guests have told us that they want more days on the train, so that's why we created the Circle packages, but also our guests get to see more when they travel with us on a Circle package because it's taking in more destinations. So on the Golden Circle via Whistler package, guests can start and end in Vancouver, or they can start and end in the Rockies. On this particular one, the guests will start their journey with us in Vancouver before heading out to the Rockies on the first passage to the West train journey. Then between Banff, Lake Louise and Jasper, once again we include all the transfers by luxurious motor coach, all the attractions such as the Columbian Icefields, the Banff Gondola, all the sightseeing as well, and the commentary by our driver guides. Then in Jasper, they'll spend 1 or 2 nights with us before they take the Rainforest to Gold Rush train journey. So that's that 3-day, 2-night journey from Jasper back to Vancouver with overnight stays at a hotel in Quesnel or Whistler. So for your clients who want to see it all, I would highly recommend a Circle package, such as the Golden Circle via Whistler. And just to let you know, the Circle packages out of Australia now are some of our top sellers for Rocky Mountaineer. And don't forget that you can substitute out the coach package for a self-drive package for the Rockies as well for those who are a little bit more independent. So earlier on, I did mention that I had a question to ask and a prize to give away. So the first person to email me the correct answer will win a Rocky Mountaineer engineer's hat. Now they are very popular and very exclusive because you can only purchase the hats on board the train. So if you'd like to win one, please send me your correct answer. So the first person to email me the correct answer will win the prize. And the question is, true or false, the coastal passage can be booked on its own. So that's the 5-hour journey between Vancouver and Seattle. Can it be booked on its own? So if you wanted to enter, feel free to email me the correct answer and I'll let you know if you were successful or not. So that's the end of my presentation. It was a bit of a whirlwind tour through Western Canada and Seattle, but I just wanted to give you, I guess, an overall information on our product and the destinations we travel to. But if you have any specific questions, please feel free to use the chat function and email me a question or two.
Thanks, Diana.
No worries.
Such a fantastic presentation. Thank you so much for that, covering everything there. So it was a really great update. Thank you. Guys, the floor is open for questions. So if anybody has any, please type them into the chat box now and I will read them out. Just got a few thank yous coming through. Lynn says that's excellent. Thank you so much. Narissa says thank you. Jane says thank you very much. Did you say the new brochure is out next week?
Yes, so it will be available from TIFF next week. If you don't receive an initial distribution, you can always just call TIFF and order brochures straight away. But they will be out as of next week, and the 2017 FIT promo is available on Sunday as well.
Thank you. That's all very exciting. Can't wait to see the new brochure.
Yes.
Jane says online too next week.
Yes, everything will be available online. That's correct. As of Sunday, 29th of May.
Cool. Question from Samantha. Is the Vancouver to Whistler journey in the Dome?
Correct. So we operate Silverleaf and Goldleaf now across all of 4 routes. We no longer operate the day trip between Vancouver and Whistler. So for those of you who are familiar, in the past we operated a one-way or return journey. It was only 3.5 hours each way between Vancouver and Whistler. But we no longer offer that as a day option because the train is now being used for the 3-day Rainforest to Gold Rush journey. So if guests want to travel by train to Whistler, then they will need to book our 3-day journey from Vancouver to Whistler, up to Quesnel, and then over to Jasper. But yes, we do now have Silverleaf and Goldleaf available on all routes.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, I don't think there's any other questions, so we'll sign off there. But thank you all so much for coming. Di, thank you so much for that update. That was really helpful, and everyone's obviously excited to get stuck into selling the 2017 season, which is fantastic. So thank you all so much, and have a great day.